Yes, guys. Ryjack back here. Today I'm looking at my Premier League season predictions, the season-long predictions for Man City, the table, some awards, and everything like that. So before we do start, I appreciate all the new subs. As always, if you're new, hit that sub button. We are trying to get to 400 subs. If you're interested in any socials, the links to those are in my channel description, and the Discord is there as well. Check it out if you want to join the big city group chat that we have going. So first, I want to say, I know last season was really poor, and I feel the energy is shifting a bit. I feel like people are really excited from what I gather from the people I talk to. They are pumped for the season to start. We're only a few days away, less than a week now. We start, and it just goes on, and there's almost no break. I feel like we just go for 9 months straight. It's fantastic. It is one of the best feelings to get back to watching the Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, and all of the competitions Man City are in. So I'm very, very excited, of course. So to start it off, I would like to go over my predictions for the player of the season in the Premier League. Obviously, I'm going with a City player for the Premier League because I think very highly of us. So this season, he is back to his best. I'm going with Erling Haaland as the Premier League player of the season. Obviously, that means he would be Man City's player of the season as well. I think he had I wouldn't want to say a nice rest this summer because, of course, we played in the Club World Cup, but we didn't go quite as long in that as we did. So I think he's going to have a good rest. We have decent competition in there. There's rotation available in Marmoush. We can play false nine with Foden or Bob if we need to. So I'm going with Haaland. I think he's going to score over 30 goals this season in the Prem. Should he do that, and should City win the league, like I kind of think we will, I think he's going to win player of the season. There's some other shouts in there as well. Maybe Foden gets back to his best and can do that. But I just think Haaland is the goal scorer that he is. He's going to be past that 30 goal mark. It's going to be hard to not give him the player of the season, in my opinion. That's what I'm personally going with. Let me know what you guys think of that prediction. Now, signing of this season in the Premier League. There's a few obviously to choose from. Now, if City end up winning the league, like I do think we are going to do, no surprise there. I've said that on some socials already. It's going to probably be a player from Man City. If we're going to go with another player other than a Man City player, I think you could look at Florian Wirtz for Liverpool. Obviously, I think he's really good. Would have loved to have him at City. So should Liverpool finish very high, he has a great chance. Same with Chelsea and Arsenal. Maybe Gyökeres, gets 25 goals. That could be signing of the season. And then Chelsea, they've got some good ones like João Pedro. I probably won't be quite good enough to be signing of the season for him, with Palmer getting most of their goals, you would think. So for City, I think it's Tijani Reinders, guys. I've been very impressed with him in the limited games I've seen, and I know some people are probably hopping on that train after he had the 2 goals, could have been 3 in the Palermo game. But I was really impressed with Tijani. I think he transforms our midfield. Him next to Rodri. Yes, we might not see Rodri for the first couple of games, but ideally they both stay fit, and Tijani Reinders brings back memories of prime Ilkay Gundogan arriving late in the box and maybe even gets double-digit goals. He got 15 for AC Milan last season. There's goals to be had when you're a midfielder for City and you arrive late in the box. I think he will thrive. I'm very excited for Tijani Reinders, my signing of the season in the Premier League, and obviously as well for Man City. Now, this is just a Man City prediction here, breakout star. If you know this channel, if you know me at all, I think you'll know who I'm going with, of course. It's an easy one. It's Oscar Bob. I would have said that last year as well. He would have been our breakout star, but basically missed the entire season with that broken leg and then the ankle situation. So this is Oscar Bob's breakthrough season in the Prem. I think he's going to start a ton of games, play a ton of minutes, hopefully way, way more than he has so far in his City career. And I hope he locks down the right wing position and he plays week in, week out. We all know there's going to be rotation. There's pep roulette that happens from time to time. But for me, Oscar Bob is our best winger. I don't know if you class Marmouche as a winger or not, but I don't really class him as a winger. I do think Marmouche, if you say he's a winger, is probably our best, but I think he's more of a second striker that starts out wide and cuts in. So for definitional purposes, I'm saying Oscar Bob is our best winger, and I think he's going to have an outstanding season. I would love to see double-digit goals or assists, one of the two. Hopefully goals. Just that would be fantastic to watch. Seeing Oscar Bob score many times this season, and it's in his locker to get 10 goals, 10 assists potentially in a season. Put up some, not quite the Riyad Mahrez level numbers yet, but eventually I think he can get to Riyad Mahrez levels for City. That's how highly I rate Oscar Bob, and he is my breakout star for the season. Now, we should look at the Premier League table. I have made a prediction over on the Premier League's website that I'll put on social media so everybody can see it, of course, so there's no, questioning. Oh, you didn't say that? Yes, I did. I have it in writing here. I'll go over it with you guys. I'll reveal it in reverse order. I don't want to spoil anything by sharing screen, so I'll just read it. In 20th, unfortunately, I have Burnley, Leeds in 19th, and Sunderland in 18th. Seems to be the case this last couple of seasons. If you come up, you just go right back down. The gap between the championship top teams and the teams that are 17th through, fighting for bottom half of the table, it's just too big. They can't do enough. They don't have enough money or enough time to build a squad that's ready to stay in the Prem. So the order, it could switch. I've seen Sunderland make some signings that I like. Granit Xhaka signed for them, obviously. So I'll give him 18th. And then Leeds 19th, Burnley 20. I just don't see it happening for them, unfortunately. It would be great if they did. Some variety in the Prem is always great, but it's so difficult. Now, 17th, I have Wolves. They have lost way too much. They've lost their best player in Mateus Cunha. They've lost their second best player in Ryan Knight-Nori. They lost Pedro Neto the year before. I just don't know what business they've done to replace those players. So 17th for Wolves. West Ham in 16th. Unfortunately, no major signings that I'm aware of at the moment. Of course, these things could change. We've got a couple weeks left of the transfer window, but I'm going West Ham in 16th place. I don't see it. I think Graham Potter could be on fraud watch, maybe one of the first managers sacked. Brentford in 15th, maybe a bit harsh, but again, looks like they're losing Wissa. They've already lost Norgard. They've already lost Mbeumo. And they've lost their manager. I don't see it for Brentford. 15th, similar thing for Bournemouth. They have been absolutely raided this summer. Their whole back line is gone. They lost Kirkes to Liverpool, Dean Huijsen to Real Madrid, and they lost the other center backs going to PSG, Zabarni, I think his name is. The right back, maybe he stays. But again, that's a tough one. Their goalie even left. Kepa is gone. So 14th for Bournemouth. 13th, Fulham. They have not lost players like the other teams listed below them. They haven't really signed anyone else, though, that I'm aware of, notable. So I'll go 13th. Everton in 12th. They just got Jack Grealish done today. I think they'll be solid, but just missing like that mid-table area. Palace, again, another one. They have kept most of their players at the time being. Maybe they sell Gehi. Maybe they sell Eze, but for now, they have not. And they just won the Community Shield. So go with 11th for Palace. Forest coming in 10th place. Forest, another tough one. They've got European football this year. I think it'll be difficult to replicate last season, but they're still a good side. I'm going 10th. 9th, I got Brighton. Will they lose Carlos Baleba? Maybe to Manchester United. We shall see, but I really like Brighton. I think they do a great job, obviously, with squad building. So if they sell Baleba, I'm sure they've got another 5 Balebas lined up that'll just come right in and be just as good as him. So 8th, I have Manchester United. Big improvement from them, from the Reds. Obviously, I hope they do horribly. I hope they get relegated, but they have made improvements for sure. And Buemo is fantastic. Sesko, I guess, is pretty good. And then Mateus Cunha, obviously, I think is fantastic. I would have loved City sign him. So 8th for United. They're getting better, but not quite Champions League level at the moment. 7th, you go Spurs. Maybe signing Savinho. I think that would be great signing for them. Obviously, really like him at City. I wouldn't personally sell him, but that seems to be the case at the moment. I think they'll be good, and I really like Thomas Frank as a manager. 6th, and just missing Champions League, I'm going Newcastle. I don't know if they're going to keep Isak, but are they going to keep an unhappy player the whole season? I don't know. It's a tough one for me, but they've had a really tough window. Not signed a whole lot of players. They might sign Wissa, who's obviously really nice, really good. They've signed Alanga, but they've missed out on so many targets. I think it's going to be difficult with Champions League again. I just don't know if they can do it. Fifth, I have Villa. Another really good team, of course, great manager, but they haven't made a whole bunch of signings. I just think their overall squad level is right in that like 5th, 6th range, and they'll be a little bit better than Newcastle this year. Fourth, this one might have some people concerned or confused, but for me, this is the year Mikel Arteta is sacked. I got Arsenal in 4th. I just don't think he's good enough as a manager to get them over the line. I think it's pretty evident that's been the case when he's at Arsenal. They just don't get over the line, unfortunately. It is what it is, and I think the board will grow tired of that, and if they have another regression this year, it'll be 2 years in a row getting worse as for his points. So I think he's getting sacked. I think he's out at Arsenal, and I got him 4th. Third, another one that people might argue with, but I'm going with Liverpool. Liverpool have signed a ton of players. They made a whole bunch of changes. I'm not really sure why. They just won the league. They walked the league. They signed Mo Salah to a contract extension, Van Dijk to a contract extension, and then they sold some players. They bought a bunch of players. And I mean, yes, you've got to try and strengthen the team, but I don't know. It's just a whole lot of changes at Liverpool going on, and I just don't see it happening back to back. Most of the time, teams do not win the Premier League back to back. City obviously are an exception, winning 4 in a row. Never been done before. But I don't know. I have Liverpool with a drop-off that I don't think many people have. Second, I'm going Chelsea. Chelsea are an improved squad. I really rate Cole Palmer. I rate Enzo Maresca, obviously another Pep disciple. And I just think they'll be much improved this season. Give Enzo enough time, and they got a really good midfield. I rate Caicedo really, really highly. Palmer's fantastic. João Pedro I really like. Neto I really like. I think they're going to be good. I got them 2nd. And then in 1st, I do have Man City, and I put here on this prediction that City would finish with 88 points. Maybe that's a little bit high. Maybe I should drop it to 84, something like that, as I think it'll be a competitive season. I do think the top 3 will pull away. Liverpool, Chelsea, and City will be the 3 really competing for it, while Arsenal fall off, like I said, and sack their manager. But going with City, winning the Premier League would be 7 in, 9 years now? 9 years, 10 years, something like that would be fantastic. I would love it. All right, next on the list, the goal scoring race. Obviously, I think Haaland's winning Premier League player of the season, so I am going to go with him. Maybe some competition is if Isak goes to Liverpool, he could compete with him. But again, you have Mo Salah there. Maybe they kind of take each other's goals at times, so you don't get the one player getting such a high number. Maybe Gyökeres comes in and just is amazing and gets 30 goals, but I don't see that happening personally, and I don't think anyone else in the league can challenge for 30 goals like Haaland can. So I'm going with Haaland for the Golden Boot. Other interesting flops, I guess I would say, surprise, not the best season from him for City. If I had to go with someone, it's unfortunate, but I think it's clear you guys know my thoughts on this. I'm going with Jeremy Doku. Unfortunately, I think this will be his last season. Maybe that changes a bit now that Savinho could leave the club, but I think Doku just doesn't fit with City very well. I don't think he'll have a great season. I think Marmoush will play a lot on the left. If we sign Rodrigo, he'll play a lot on the left. On the right, Oscar Bob, like I said, is up and coming, and maybe Doku just misses out on minutes and just doesn't get the game time this season. I could see us selling him next summer, so he is I hate to say flop, but my underperformer for the City team this season. Now let's look at the last bit of prediction here before we close it out. It's the Champions League. How do I think City will do this year in the Champions League? Champions League, obviously knockout competition. It's super difficult to predict, and I could sit here and say I feel very confident City are winning the Champions League, but I don't really feel that way, unfortunately. I feel that we will make a run. Well, I ideally do better in the group stage games, maybe now knowing that experience from last season, how poor we played over those first initial 8 matches to barely scrape in the playoff. I think we'll do much better in that first 8 and put ourselves in position to get a bye for the initial round, right to the round of 16. Hopefully we get top 8 in the league. So I would really like that, of course, but I'm not sure we're quite at the level we have been in the past, where I think nobody in the world can beat us when we play super well. I think there are teams that can beat City even when we play well. So I don't think we're winning the Champions League, unfortunately, this season. I'm much more confident going for the Premier League. And people might say the Premier League is more difficult to win than the Champions League, but I don't really think that's the case. I think the Champions League is much more difficult because you can slip up a few times in the Premier League and still win it. You can't in the Champions League. You got to basically play fantastic every time there's a Champions League knockout round to go there. And I think it's evidenced by City winning one of those in Guardiola's 9 years that we've had here. So I just think the Champions League is a difficult competition, and I think maybe a semifinal would be great, but I just don't see it happening in the Champions League, unfortunately. Now, those are my predictions for the Premier League season for City. I'm expecting big things from this club. My final prediction is, should we win the league, I think Pep walks at the end of the season. I think he leaves the club, goes into retirement or a break, whatever you want to call it, and he'll feel like he's satisfied his work at City. He rebuilt the squad a bit and brought him right back to the top, and I think he will walk away and no longer want or have the desire to manage City, unfortunately. It's how I feel. Maybe if we don't win it, he stays, but at the moment, I feel like we win it this year and he just walks off into the sunset a champion one final time. So let me know what you guys think of my Premier League predictions. Am I way off? Let me know what you think, of course, on all of my takes. And let me know how excited you are for the Premier League season. I am buzzing. Can't wait. See you guys soon.